How I met Cody was I was a freshman in college and he was a senior, and we had a mutual friend.
Emily had gone to high school with Jeff, and he was my roommate at the time in a big house that I was living in, and she came over and was, making new friends. She was a freshman.
So I brought my roommate with me, and I met all 6 of his roommates, and Cody was one of them. But it wasn't love at first sight.
After that, we went on our first date.
I mean, I thought he was really cute, but he was older, and I was like, oh, he wouldn't like an 18-year-old. He's too old for me. It was kind of cute.
I don't know if I'm a love at first sight kind of person. I mean, it's one of those things where it takes time to build a relationship with people, and obviously there was chemistry there. She always says Chili's was our first date, which, I mean, I guess, technically that was the first time that we actually just went out, just the 2 of us, so it was, but I would like to think it was someplace nicer than that.
Chili's.
I would think more of along the lines of like one of the date parties that we had or something like that, or there was a wedding that I took her to in Tulsa.
There's not much to choose from in Stillwater, so it was Chili's.
I don't know. I don't like the answer of Chili's, but I know I've heard the answer to that one enough times to know that that's where she considers our first date. So.
Yeah, he organized it. He actually had asked me to go to lunch with him that day. He texted me around 4:00 p.m. and said, "So dinner instead?" And I was like, "Sure."
We became close friends, and that's really what was most important to me, was becoming friends and being able to have somebody that you could have that friendship with, because that's going to last a lot longer than chemistry or anything else. So.
What struck me first about Cody was he was tall, and he had a kind face, and he was nice and soft-spoken.
If I'm just going with honesty, her persistence. I was just like, oh no, all that stuff can wait. I'm here in college to have fun. I don't need a girlfriend, don't need anything serious. And she was always back, always there, very consistent.
His roommates, were college boys, but I felt like he was a little bit more, and not even necessarily more mature, but just, I don't know how to put it. But I knew within the first couple months of us dating, and I actually told him I loved him first. I know. So, I think I knew before him. I think he would tell you that he knew around the same time, but he just didn't want to admit it yet. Needed to be a stoic, manly man.
She had already decided for me, really, which I don't want to make it sound that way, because I love her, and obviously, we've been dating for 6.5 years and spent a lot of time together, and I wouldn't have anybody else, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
What I admire most about Cody is that he is very driven, and he has goals, and he works on accomplishing those goals.
She's a very kind person to everyone I know. Like, probably one of the nicest people I think I've ever met. Just genuinely a good person to her core.
He loves me very, very, very much, and he always thinks of me whenever he plans for himself.
She is patient with me and with everybody else. She's a teacher, so.
He's very inclusive, and he is very good to his family, and he's very good to my family. And I think that he has a good heart.
And she's passionate about helping other people. I think that sums it up pretty nicely. I could go on and on, but
Cody has a sister that lives in Florida, so we were going to kill two birds with one stone, go see my grandparents, go down and see his sister and her family.
Emily wanted something private. It ended up being on the beach, which is kind of cliche, but I was like, all right, let's mix it up. Let's do something at like 6 in the morning when she's never going to expect it. She's really, really tough to surprise.
And it was one morning, we were at Clearwater Beach outside of Tampa.
Clearwater was a place that I went whenever I was a kid. My mom would take me and my sister out there, and we would probably go once a year, probably like 5 or 6 years in a row that we went out there. So it was a place that was, you know, near to my heart that I'd like to go, and I thought it would be a cool place to take her out to.
And we went for a walk in the morning to look for starfish, which there weren't any starfish.
So that was my intent, was to just to actually find those. There was, you know, there was truth to the story. We ended up not finding any starfish, but
pretty quickly I knew that there was something going on because he kept kind of like fidgeting like with the pocket of his swimsuit. And so I was like, what's going on? And then he said, you know I love you, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you know I want to spend the rest of my life with you, right? Yeah. I started crying and he got down on one knee and I don't really remember the rest.
She was like shocked and she was just on top of the world all day. It was awesome to propose at 6 in the morning because we had the entire day for her to be super happy about it.
He stood up and we were hugging and there was a jogger running by and she kind of paused and she said, did you two just get engaged? And we said, yeah. She said, do you have a camera? I'll take a picture for you.
They took a picture for us and that was like the only evidence that it happened.
And it's actually a really cute picture. You can still see the sand on Cody's knee where he got down on one knee. It's really sweet. It's a good picture.
So we spent, you know, the day in Clearwater and we had done the parks and it was a fun time. What I'm looking forward to the most is being able to make plans together. So it was almost 3.5 years, like half of our relationship that we were living in a different city.
Hopefully I'm still teaching, starting to think about kids.
I would like to be well on our way with little ones. You know, I think we'll probably have 2 or 3.
I hope that we had traveled a lot and that we're still happy. I don't know if we'll still be in Oklahoma, but we'll be together. But I want to focus on he and I more first and do more traveling and settle down. And we have 2 dogs now, so focus on them for a little bit.
So it's really nice that we both know wherever we go, whatever we do, we get to shape it together and we get to be together. When I think about Emily, I feel at peace. I feel like my soul's at peace and I can be calm.
When I think about Cody, it makes me feel happy and content. He lived in Tulsa and I lived in Oklahoma City, so it was, we always had to travel to see each other, and he always joked around that whenever we would hang out, we would like watch TV and I'd fall asleep, like on his shoulders. And he'd always make fun of me that, you know, you're always sleeping all the time. Like, well, when I'm with you, my heart's content. Like, I just feel happy. And
she's just so consistent and she's such a rock and such a foundation of a person that it helps me feel calmer and cooler about things and that we can do anything, really. I mean,
he's a really sweet person. He just makes me feel happy.
As long as I'm with her, that's all that really matters.